What if every person who filled out your intake form got a welcome email that actually sounded like you took the time to read it?
That'd be pretty cool. And we're not talking about a template, not a hi first name, thanks for reaching out type of thing. A real message written for them based on exactly what they told you when they signed up.
Right. And today we're going to be building just that, a Zapier workflow that takes a new response from Typeform, uses AI by Zapier to write a personalized intro paragraph based on the response, then drops it into AWeber and sends a personalized email automatically.
Yep, and you're not going to have to deal with any code. It just is going to run while you sleep, so you don't have to babysit it. And every new subscriber gets something that feels like you wrote it just for them and that you can iterate on and make it better over time. This is the Shift AI show presented by AWeber. If you can imagine it, you can do it with AWeber.
That beat had me bobbing my head a little bit. They're so
That's a
fun.
good one. That's my favorite part of the Shift. Now,
Yeah.
if you're watching this, our loyal viewers, you probably noticed that Jesse is not here today. Today, I am with Alicia, who's a really talented product designer, design thinker who does a lot of really interesting things with design at AWeber with me and Jesse. Like the way that she thinks about shifting the design process to a world in which AI is such a big part of our flow has been inspiring and so much fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that intro, Chris. I'm very excited to be here. If you might have seen me on some virtual events at AWeber as well. So my face might not be totally new, but new to the Shift and excited to be working through Zapier today.
Yeah. So before we jump into this specific use case, can you give like a brief description of what Zapier is and maybe ways you use it with and without AI?
Yeah. So Zapier is an automation platform that you can set different steps to happen automatically based on interactions or things that might happen in different apps. A lot of the times I use it with Typeform and Google Sheets because that's kind of my area of expertise. I'm always getting feedback in from people. I use both scenarios, some with Typeform and some with Google Sheets, but to add tags to people to in AWeber to send automatic messages. I use this is N8N, not Zapier, but I've used it to create same kind of flow, write message content, email content for tons of people. And it's been a really fun way to kind of like set things automatically, have it just kind of run while you're not even thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's always worth that extra time to like get these automations set up so you can just kind of have it do the thing that you want to do.
Yeah, and that is a great lead into the demo for today, because the thing I want to make sure everybody stays like hyper focused on is, just like with all the AI demos that we've been working through, don't get intimidated. If you've never used Zapier before, if you've never used an automation platform like this before, don't get intimidated. Like, I feel incredibly confident that you could just replicate this yourself just by following along with today's demo. But what we're going to show you is, let's get into our role here. Let's say I am a marketing coach, but this could easily be for any business, especially for service providers where you provide a service to someone. My wife's an interior designer. This would work for her as well. And you start with an intake survey. I'm using Typeform to create that survey. What I'm going to do, I'm going to walk through each of these steps individually, but let me walk you through the broad stroke first. So I start with an intake survey that I give to my prospects, and it asks them for their name and their single biggest problem, right? And I see that Jim just asked, is Zapier a paid subscription? You can use a free Zapier plan, but for the demo today, it does require a paid subscription because we're using Zapier AI, which I think is on the paid plan, and multi-step automations. So this has 3 steps in it, which is limited to the paid plan. But this could be worth it for you alone with just the single automation. Like, let's walk through it. So I use the Typeform for this survey where I ask for their email and their single biggest problem. I should probably also ask for their name, but I'm not right now. Then I use a step where I take their single biggest problem and I ask AI to create a personalized welcome paragraph based on their problem. Then I add the subscriber to AWeber with that personalized paragraph as a custom field, and they get an automated email that is very personalized to them. It's awesome. End to end. 3 steps gives you a hyper personalized email.
Yeah, it's so awesome that it's only 3 steps, because it sounds like a complicated thing to do, but when you look at it here, it does feel so simple.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm going to walk through each of these. You can see that the way Zapier works is there's a setup where you pick the account or service that you want to connect it to, and it walks you through that. So I connected it to my Typeform account, and I say every time that I get a new entry on a specific one of my surveys, I want you to run this step. And then in the configuration step, it tells me to pick which form to watch, and I do that. So that's all there is to the Typeform step. That one is done. When people create or submit a new entry to this survey, it's going to run this flow for me.
And the cool thing about Zapier is it'll actually make these drop-down menus. So it's like a really easy, like, pick my form. You don't have to like go find any codes or anything. It's just right there for you to drop down.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it has like search, so you could search for your form name and everything. The next step is a little bit more complicated, and there are a number of ways that you can do this in Zapier. You can just use an action for OpenAI. Like if you have an OpenAI account that you use for like for vibe coding or something like that, you can use that same account in a step here, or Anthropic for Claude, or a number of other AI models. The nice thing about the AI by Zapier step is it lets you pick from a variety of different models from different providers, or just default to whatever model it thinks is best, which is what I'm doing here. So I added the AI by Zapier element, and then I said in my model selection, I was like, auto, just pick whatever you want to do. I see Carol asks, is Typeform similar to Jotform or Google Forms? The answer is yes. Yeah. And the awesome thing about Zapier is if you're using Jotform or Google Forms, instead of the Typeform entry here, you could just use a Jotform or Google Forms entry there. They're both supported by Zapier. And if we have time at the end, I'll show you like how you might pick that. But the real magic of this step, the AI step, is in the prompt. And let me see if I can go in and actually edit this so you can see the setup.
There's an edit right up at the top. Yep.
Duh.
We'll find it.
Yeah. So there are 2 things to be aware of with the AI by Zapier. The first is the prompt that you're writing. And you can see here, I'm saying, I need you to craft a personalized intro paragraph for my email for someone based on the biggest problem they're facing and my ability to help them. And then what I did is I referenced their answer to one of the survey questions. I'll show you what that looks like. I'm going to delete that and start it again. I can just hit slash. Why is slash not working? Of course, slash not working. There we go. And then I can look for the data that I want from my Typeform survey. And you can see that I can get their answer to what's the biggest problem you're facing. And I'll add that. So now for a specific user, it'll just show that in, it'll pull in their specific answer and run it in this prompt. Now I added a couple extra things here after that. I give it some context about who I am. I'm a business coach focused on helping people grow their business audience and awareness, some description of who I am so it understands like the actual value that I am giving someone when it's creating this intro paragraph. And then the last thing that I did is a little safeguard, because if somebody inputs like junk or doesn't put anything in that question somehow, I don't want to give a nonsense email back to them. So I said, if the biggest problem they're facing is empty, nonsense, or is not something I can clearly help them with, return an email or an empty email intro paragraph. Okay, that's my prompt. And then the other interesting thing to pay attention to here is the output fields section, where you can define what exactly you want the response to look like from the AI. And the really important part of this for me was the email intro paragraph. I wanted to make sure that every time it responds with an email intro paragraph value that I can use in the next step. And over here on the right, you can see an example of what comes back. And here, if the input is, I need help figuring out how to grow my audience, an example output would be, I understand you're looking for strategies to grow your audience as a business coach specializing in audience growth and leveraging yada, yada. So that is the personalized intro coming back. The last step is actually putting that into a platform where you can send the email. We're using AWeber because AWeber is amazing. We both work at AWeber and it's really easy to use. So what I do here is I've linked it to my account and my list, my Shift demos list. And I'm saying that you add the person based on the email that they input in the Typeform. And I want there to be a custom field called intro paragraph that I set up in AWeber, where I want to pass back that intro paragraph that was generated by AI in the last step. Make sense? That's what this is right here.
Yeah, I think that's really helpful to have those. You can hit that slash bar and it'll help you find all of those outputs that you're looking for.
Yes. Yeah, like that. So I can say, like, if I want a value from the AI generation step, I hit slash, it shows me the bar. Then I can just click on the AI generation step and see all of the available data coming back from it. It's very, very cool. I don't want to accidentally add another thing here. The one other thing I will say, just for automation purposes, is I'm also saying when you add this person to AWeber, add the tag onboarding-survey. And I'm going to use that to automate the sending of the message to the person. Cool?
Yeah, and this step you have is creating a new subscriber, but we could also update existing subscribers, right?
Yeah. Yes, you could update a subscriber as well. That's something that you pick when you're setting up this step for people or in Zapier. Cool. So let me show you what this looks like in practice, because like this is done. So now whenever somebody fills out the survey, the whole process is going to run end to end for me. So what it looks like is, here's my survey. I'm going to add this new person. I'm Chris TV plus the string of numbers at aweber.net. And when it asks me what my biggest problem I'm facing is, I'm going to tell it, I'm a logo designer and I want to find more people to pitch on my services, but I'm not sure how to find them or incentivize them to talk to me. That's fine.
Yeah.
So I'll just submit that. That's the end of it. So now this whole process is going to kick off in the background. So what's happening in the background, if I look back at Zapier now, is you can see that it ran that job. That's what this new line item is. You can see that what it did is, whoops, it saw me. It saw the biggest problem that I was facing, and it executed the flow. So the next step then was, well, actually, I'll show this to you in AWeber. So you can see that the subscriber was actually added. So in AWeber now, this subscriber was added less than a minute ago. That was me, added by Zapier. And you can see some things about me. I have that onboarding survey. And also, this is the real magic of it. I have this intro paragraph that says, like, I understand that you're looking for ways to connect with local businesses for your logo design thing. That is the personalized thing. Right. It's not just some generic message that came back to me. It's a message about what I told me the problem was. And you can see now, like, that's cool that it's there, but how do I actually use it to send an email? That I do through a thing called workflows in AWeber. They might be called campaigns in other tools, but this is where you do the actual automation of sending messages. And this is also really simple and quick to set up.
Yeah, it's similar to like Zapier, how it is like a step-by-step kind of flow builder. So you're just kind of sending them from one automation into another one based on that.
Yes. And you might ask, well, why not use Zapier completely to send the email? And the big reason is because this person is being added to my AWeber list, right, which is my owned audience. Like because they decided to fill this survey out, I now have a relationship with them that we own together without some sort of middle person standing in the middle. So the only thing that's going to break that, our ability to communicate with each other, if one of us says we don't want to do it anymore, the person who signed up can unsubscribe from my email, or I can decide to unsubscribe them or remove them from my list. But otherwise, that relationship is ours. And AWeber, among other tools, but AWeber is a great way to manage that relationship. So the way this automation looks is it's 2 steps. It starts whenever a subscriber is added with that tag that we talked about, and then it just sends an email. And the way this email works is, okay, this gets a little bit technical, but it's really, I don't want you to be intimidated because you can duplicate the exact same thing. So there's this conditional content here, which means that it's going to display different content to people based on the information it has. And what it's saying is, what this line means is if the subscriber has the custom field called intro paragraph, so if there's content in there, if it was able to generate a personalized intro paragraph, it'll show that. But if it doesn't have that, if somebody put in nonsense or they asked about something that I couldn't directly help with them, it's going to fall back and show them this other paragraph. So what that looks like in practice is here, there's no intro paragraph content here. You can see I could fill a test in here if I wanted to. So it's going to show the fallback, which just talks generally about my services and how I benefit people. But I'm going to copy this from the person that we just looked at. If there is intro paragraph content, it's going to show that to that person instead, which is all about me as a logo designer. So that's really cool.
Yeah, the if else thing, I would agree. It is a little bit scary, but it's so smart to have that if else, because I use a similar pattern when I greet people in my emails. Like I might say, hi, first name fix, if else, if I don't have their first name, add a wave emoji or say hi friend or something. So the fallbacks are cool, but I would agree once you start seeing those at symbols, it like starts to feel scary. But we always have things you can copy and paste and help you get there.
Yeah, and we're available too. If you need help from us, you can email us. If you're signed up for the Shift newsletter, you can just reply to one of our newsletters if you ever have questions. And AWeber's team is full of people who are not just available, but excited to help you figure this stuff out. Because stuff like this, where you can be sending this hyper-personalized content, just as maybe you're a solopreneur, you're the one person who works at your business, you can be doing this stuff. Like this might seem like really sophisticated AI-ness, but like you could do it. And it would take you as long to set up as watching the video with us right now. The last piece of this that I want to show you is actually, this is an email from someone as someone that I had signed up from earlier in the day, where I was like, I have a pickleball paddle company, which I do, that and I need help finding an audience. I've been able to sell them locally, but I haven't been able to figure out how to get people to buy from my e-commerce store. And this is what I got back. This is actually in my inbox, end to end. So I filled out the survey and I ended up with this in my inbox, where it is really personalized to my use case. I understand you've been selling pickleball paddles locally and you're looking to expand your reach online. And it talks about, I help businesses like yours overcome these exact challenges by developing strategies to attract and engage online customers and implementing AI-powered marketing operations to streamline your outreach and sales processes. It's speaking exactly to the problem that I have been talking about. It's not generic, it's specific. I was
thinking of another scenario of like how I might implement this in my little side business where I'm a Zumba instructor and I have some virtual classes, live classes, and I use AWeber to, stay in touch with them. And I am slowly behind the scenes working on a virtual app that where I can have more videos for people to use. And I've been thinking of like starting a beta or like inviting just a small group of people to try it first when it's ready. So I think that would be another cool way. They would already be on my list, so I'd be updating existing subscribers instead of inviting new ones. But use a Typeform survey, ask them like what their level is, what their preferred tablet might be, or not tablet, mobile device or desktop, what their preferred workout device is, and like ask questions and then customize that message. And I think it's so cool because when people first join your list, and like Chris's example, that first welcome message is usually like the most open message. You know, and it's that intro point to a conversation. And if it feels personal to that person on the other end, like it's just that much better to be able to have that custom content in there.
That's
so it feels like you're actually
point.
Speaking to somebody. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the make or break. You know, you only have one chance to make a first impression. That's your first impression in the inbox. So can I put you on the spot for something?
Sure.
Alicia is, if you're watching this, one of her superpowers is like prompt writing, is writing prompt to generate content in a specific way. And like, if you're reading this email, like the cool thing about it is it gave a personalized answer to somebody's need. The thing that I think is kind of a bummer about it is it sounds like it was written by the most like buzzword obsessed marketing person ever. So what I'm hoping is, can you just like in 3 to 5 minutes help us improve this prompt so it gives us something more more natural sounding?
Yeah, I was going to do that earlier when you were first going through the original flow, but I'm glad you went back. I think a couple of things I think you did great at starting like what you need back, right? Like I'm looking for, like, I need you to do this task. And I love that you added the context below it. I think what would be helpful is even sharing the actual email content that's going to show below it so that that intro paragraph could tie more seamlessly into the next paragraph.
Oh, cool. Okay. So maybe something like, here's the structure of the email.
It would be like intro paragraph and then paste in like the second paragraph that shows up.
Okay. Nice.
And then another thing I see you skipped was telling it your voice and tone and like how you like to talk. Maybe you want it to be a little more, like you were saying, it's so buzzwordy for marketing. So maybe there's a way you can add some more character that relates to who you are.
Okay. So we have like who I am and then maybe voice and tone.
Yeah.
And what are some things that you put if you want the tone to sound more human and personal? Like, how do you approach writing voice and tone?
So voice and tone is tricky because you kind of like default to words like professional or friendly. But if you put friendly, it's going to be like overly friendly. And you're like, oh, that's not right. Casual is a word I like to use a lot. The other one is I like to try to imply somewhere, I don't have it off the top of my head, but I like to imply that I'm an expert at what I do, but I don't want to sound like an expert. Not sound like an expert, but I don't want to position myself as like better than them you know.
So I'm hearing this and maybe like approachable.
Approachable is a good word. Yeah.
Expert at what I do and at making it understandable to non-experts.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll help. I'll bet you this would do such a better job just alone as it is.
And even like a character count is something I typically add to, because sometimes I feel like paragraphs come back way longer than I would typically write. Like I'm more of a short paragraph person. But a character length is always something I consider when I'm trying to, especially if you're doing just a single paragraph that falls into something else.
All right, cool. That sounds awesome. Let's see. How do I'm going to rerun this. So just reran the prompt. It's thinking.
It's funny. This is the part where I get obsessed with. I love like tweaking the prompt and like getting the output to be just right.
This is so much better already. So like this assumes that they put in the biggest problem, grow my audience. And the response sounds so much more personal. Hey there, I noticed you're looking to grow your audience, and that's exactly where I come in. As a business coach, I help entrepreneurs like you expand their reach, sell more effectively online, and even automate those time-consuming marketing tasks with AI. Think of me as your go-to for making your business grow without the usual tech or time headaches. That's so much better than the like 5 sentences of buzzwords that were generated before.
It's using like relatable words that your audience might be more connected to, the actual like tasks you'll be doing for them. Yeah, I agree.
All right, that is awesome. And that is like a system now that you have, or that I have at least, where when somebody signs up and answers this survey question, a 2-question survey, they get added to my AWeber list and they get a hyper personalized email. And we just right there, like, I'm going to publish this change. And when I do, we're going to get the benefit of, there we
The
go,
updated prompt.
of the updated prompt. Yeah. So the next person who signs up is going to get an even better, more personal result. And you could do the same.
Yeah.
Anything that you have been just dying to show off that you've been working on?
So I know you were going to share something similar, but I've been working on a new landing page for my 25-minute virtual Zumba class that I promote. I demo often a page during our demos on Wednesdays. I should have got this ready, but I didn't. So let me get this ready real quick and then I will share it.
And while you're waiting, I'm going to share mine.
Sounds good. Yeah.
So I have this page that is like my personal speaking page. It's about the places I've spoken before and whatnot. And it's been like this for years. And it was fine, you know, whatever. But I just was kind of unhappy with it. But I haven't had the time to spend like making it better, because I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way. It's like, I want to do this thing, but I'm not going to prioritize it.
Yep.
So what I did is I used the builder. Oops, where did I just go? The builder inside of AWeber that we've talked about before. It's like a conversational AI builder to redesign the site. And now what used to look like this, and it had some like broken stuff on it. You can see there's like a broken post here. Now it looks like this, which is awesome.
That is so cool. I love like the imagery on there, and just like it just feels so much more modern.
Yeah. And
no offense to your last one. I mean, it was great, but no.
No, but this is better. Like, it did its job, but this does such a better job. But my favorite thing about this is, like, in my old version of this, I have this picture of myself that has like bare feet on it, and that always made me so uncomfortable. So the only thing I had this change for this image was like, put some well-worn loafers on me, and it did. And now I don't have to stress out about that anymore.
That was so funny too, because when you first showed me that landing page, I'm like, wait, is that AI?
The picture is real, except for the shoes. The shoes, they're not.
All right, so I've got my 2 examples here. Let me get the right tab shared here.
And then let me know when it's shared, because I have to share it. Okay, here we go.
Okay. So there's my first tab. Let me make that a little bit smaller. So this is something I demo often in my, getting set up with lead magnet pages. And we talk about like big headers and putting the form up front and adding some testimonials. And this is great. It contains all of that core info. But I've been working on a new one using our new landing page builder that feels like this.
That looks so much better. Not to shade your previous one, but it just looks so much better.
I did it to you. But it has little subtle animations. It rewrote some of the stuff, like how Zumba can help you. I was able to update like my logos and my certifications and things I teach. Awesome. And my favorite thing with a call out to Jesse, because we did this one week. He gave me this idea, and now I do it on every single sign up form. Is this little interaction. So there's like the inline placeholder, and when I click, it moves to a little label at the top.
Oh, cool.
How cool is that?
That looks really cool.
But it's now something I add to every single one of my forms, because I think it's just like a cool touch. But yeah, I'm loving the feel. Both of our pages ended up being darker versions, which is interesting.
The cool thing, though, is if you wanted to flip it and make it a light version, or give it a light and dark mode, you could do that just by asking it.
I know, it's so cool.
Yeah, it's cool. So Mr. ATS asked, does it eliminate M hyphens? What a nuisance. That's something that, like, We try to do that with our builders. We try and build in some of that knowledge. But for the Zapier example that we were walking through, that probably should have been another rule
Mhm.
of like, don't use obvious AI signposts. That's something that I include in most of my prompts is don't include things that will make this look obviously like AI. Things like M dashes, or it's like this, but that, or it's not this, it's that. Like these common uh, sh- grammatical structures that
Mhm.
seem very clearly to be AI, like the base level of AI.
And what's interesting though is as often as I tell AI to not use M dashes, I feel like it just always does it. Um, I try to say use no dashes and take away the M, and I find that successful
Hmm.
sometimes. But for some reason, I feel like they're out to get us with these M dashes because they're so hard to get out of our content.
They're trying to change our mind and convince us like it's use them, use them.
I used to like them when they first started, and now I'm like, okay.
Yeah. It's just too obvious. Like
It
using
is.
emoji for bullet points, that's
Right.
another like dead giveaway in my mind. Unless they're like weird, then I'm like, oh, a human. If somebody uses like the bat emoji or something, like I'm like, oh, a human probably did that. They probably made that weird
Right.
decision. Uh, well, that was a ton of fun, Alicia. Thank you so much for jumping on today. We're trying to
Yeah.
keep these around a half an hour, and we're just a little over. It's not
Not
50
too bad.
minutes, so I'll take that as a win.
Yep.
We usually end this with a because we love digging into technology, but it's also important that we touch grass periodically and get out and do something in the real world. So, what are you doing this weekend to get yourself out into the real world?
Well, I will be traveling to a new state this weekend, so I'll be traveling with family. And that to me is getting out into the world, right?
Yeah,
I'll be in a new area, doing new things, hitting the beach, going to the boardwalk, and hopefully meeting some cool people along the way.
nice. Yeah, mine. I'm going to be at the beach as well, if weather permitting. I'm on the East Coast, right outside of Philadelphia, Wildwood, New Jersey. That's where I am this
Mhm.
weekend. And
Awesome.
Mr. ATS, and anyone who's interested, yeah, you can watch this video again on YouTube. After we close it out, it'll be available in our channel. You can watch, rewind, leave comments if you have questions. I'd really love to know if any of you end up trying this this personalization flow, because it's super powerful, and I'm sure you'll make changes to it that make it even more interesting and powerful than what we walked through today.
Definitely.
All right, this is a lot of fun. You should definitely come back for another one, Alicia.
Yeah, sounds good. Definitely. I'll be here.
Thanks. See you,
Take
everybody.
care.
Drew is really good at making other people look really good.
Stunning.
And with the help of AWeber's marketing platform, he's built an entire audience on his ability to turn heads. So even though Drew's just a team of one, it never really feels that way.
That's a wrap, folks. Come on out.
Drew uses AWeber. It's how teams of one get more done.
Oh, thanks, Tim. Have sweet. You're the best, Tim.
With AWeber, it's like he has a whole staff helping him grow his audience and build professional-looking content.
And send. You got it. Great job, team.
From automated email campaigns
Oh, of course, sign up. You get it from here.
to insight-packed reports.
How are we looking on new subscribers? Is that the day we launch the new course? Nice.
AWeber gives Drew the freedom to go forth
Hey.
and be Drew. AWeber. Time to love what you do.